It's Monday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Alaja Nima Akashat.
It's me Ramadan Mubarak. It's me.
Happy Ramadan.
Happy Ramadan.
Oh, wow. I have to greet all my family members too.
You say happy Ramadan.
That's what I
can say that.
It's allowed, okay.
Yeah. Let me greet my Alaji Fuja, Alaji Waidi Fuja, my auntie Ramota Irogobu, and all the Muslim family members who are starting their Ramadan today. Congratulations, and I wish you
transformational
Ramadan.
Because that was what I couldn't finish last year. So this year I was able to meet the day starts every evening in Islam. So today started yesterday after Isha.
Okay.
So people usually belittle the Tarawih. That's they call it Ashamu in Yoruba. I say, okay, some people if you can get to the mosque, if you not, but I usually do it on my own.
Really?
This year I didn't miss it.
Wow.
So I finished quite late yesterday.
I think it used to be very important. Asham was like as if we don't do that.
No, my area, we're not blessed with so many mosques.
Okay.
So my husband was like, are you sure they cited him? I said, just wait. Since you have not cited him.
You have cited
I have cited him.
What a woman can see sitting down.
A man cannot see standing up.
Saudi have announced that the one has been cited by 3 p.m. yesterday. And you're waiting for Sultan to tell you with a letter. I just went to do my time.
Let me come to you, Mariam. How are you doing? How was your weekend?
The weekend was good. It was Mother's Day. Although I did not know it was Mother's Day.
I mean, Mothering Sunday.
Yeah, Mothering Sunday, Mother's Day. Was my children got me a cake. I was surprised. I was like, really? They said they had called their dad and they arranged it and come again. I thought it was sweet too, but I just thought it was so surprising. I mean, they are growing up, Yes. But it was a lovely weekend. Then I had my stepkids and the grandkid come over. They did chin-chin, then the Aima and her niece, they did massages for me and her sisters.
Well,
they did. It was just a lovely weekend. Yeah.
That's nice. Very thoughtful kids.
Yes.
How you doing?
I'm doing amazing.
Yeah,
I had a fantastic weekend with family. I didn't even remember it was Mother's Day.
They went to church and they did it.
I didn't go to church,
unfortunately.
unfortunately.
That's why those who forgot when they got to church.
Yeah, you didn't remember, yeah. So we just, I had to take the kids out. My daughter won an award. She's been participating in this Conrad Challenge. And a few weeks back, she had won a scholarship to any school in the US. And then she got another, So they camped them at a hotel to do it all over during the weekend. And we had to go pick her up yesterday morning. So we had to take her out just to celebrate, have a nice time, hung out. It's good Italian food.
I was so proud.
I am, actually. I am. I am. How was your weekend?
It was not bad. I mean, just it's good. As you're growing up as parents, you get new phases. You're just asking God for success in those phases.
Yes.
I'm so happy for you guys. Friday was International Women's Month, Women's Day. I wasn't around.
Yes.
So I had to go speak at I had like 3 events. Unfortunately, I couldn't make the TVC, but I heard it was fantastic.
It was amazing.
I heard that it was well planned out to the entire team.
Yeah.
The TVC Women's Network did a fabulous job.
They did.
They really went all out, and the theme was wellness. And they really came out and they did such a fantastic. Well done to the entire team.
Yeah. There was meditation, there was yoga.
I saw you instructing.
Yes, I did vision boarding.
Oh, fantastic.
It was fun.
I was on my way and there was bad traffic. I forgot the whole Ikorodu Road thingy. So I had calculated the time I'll get there, but I was just stuck in traffic.
The road was really blocked.
It was really blocked
heading
that
back
day.
as well,
But I'm thankful to those who invited me, Wema Bank, Bank of Industry. I mean, I was really glad to be there. Let's go on a short break now. When we come back, we continue with the show with the paper review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Okay, we're going to start with The Nation. Presidency slams senator over budget padding claim. Pencom didn't give federal government 10 trillion naira loan. Disco explains blackout in Kwara, Oyo, and Ogun. 40,000 Ogun farmers get lift. Yari annual Ramadan feeding program benefits 250,000 households. Sultan pronounces today as first day of Ramadan month. Pro-Shaibu protesters seek end to impeachment move. CBN screens banks' financial reports for infractions. And foreign investors pump $823 million into forex market. Okay, story.
I can start.
Just
Go ahead.
It's a very short one. The Sultan of Sokoto, Alhaji Saad Abubakar, on his Twitter page yesterday confirmed the sighting of the moon, the end of Shaban, and the beginning of Ramadan, and he has enjoined Muslims across the country to fast, pray for the leaders and the country as well to ease out things this Ramadan.
Okay. So the Central Bank of Nigeria said they had strengthened their preemptive surveillance of the banks to unearth infractions and ensure compliance with extant rules and guidelines. They said the banks have been under intense criticism in recent periods for alleged complicity in economic crimes. This is according to the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, that's the EFCC, and they had estimated that some 70% of financial crimes in the country could be traced to the banking sector. Now, financial industry sources yesterday said that the Apex Bank has rejigged its surveillance, the surveillance mechanism to appropriately focus on banks' financial statements and audit reports. And it said that each report will pass through multiple levels of examinations. And one of the sources said that the delay in the submission of the audited reports and accounts of many banks for last year might not be unconnected with the rigorous screening of the bank's financial statements. Now, banks that had approved their audited results and submitted the same for onward examination and approval by the CBN since the end of January 2024 are still awaiting final approval of the Apex Bank. They said they cannot make public their audited reports and accounts without prior final approval of the CBN. And the delay in the release of the bank's results has also put them in default of the corporate governance rules at the Nigerian Foreign Exchange as well, that most of the banks are listed at the NGX. So a lot of the banks, because they are not able to complete their, their audited reports, they are not able to just present it there. They are waiting on the CBN and they are going through rigorous, examinations to make sure that they are clean of every form of fraud that passes through the banks.
Yeah, I have the major headline. So Bauchi Central Senator Abdul Ningi had an interview over the weekend and he made some claims. He claimed that he alleged in an interview with the BBC Hausa service that the 2024 budget that's been executed had been padded to the tune of 3 trillion naira and it was skewed against the interest of the North. He alleged that the report of a consultant was revealed this padding. He also added that Northern Senators Forum, which he chairs, would confront Senate President Godswill Akpabio with his findings on the alleged padding. There are so many, allegations and accusations against the Senate President of inserting projects worth 4 trillion in the 2024 budget. But we have his colleagues, who have knocked his claims. They are saying that it's too far-fetched and unbecoming of a leader of his status. We have a statement by the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Baya Ononuga, says that the President forwarded an evenly distributed budget in which none of the 6 geopolitical zones is marginalized. 3 senators, Steve Sunday Karimi, Kogi West, Titus Zam of Benue Northwest, and Kaka Sho of Borno Central, also rejected Ningi's claims, which they described as a ruse, unfounded, baseless, and a figment of his imagination. They dissociated themselves from it. The senators are members of the Northern Senators Forum under, whose auspices Ningi allegedly spoke about. So they're saying that it is not right for him to have gone ahead to say this. It reeks of blackmail is what they said. Yeah. So.
Okay, let me take the Ibadan Electricity Distribution Company. They're saying they're giving us reasons why there are blackouts in several states. That's Oyo, Ogun, Osun, Kwara, and parts of Kogi. According to this report, it said that the Ibadan Electricity Distribution Company has suffered 1,450 energy theft cases in the first 2 months of this year. These are one of the reasons why they're having blackouts. She also noted that one primary factor is the low supply of gas to the generating companies, which has led to gradual decrease in available generation to the grid. She also repeated that scheduled maintenance activities are conducted in March was one of the reasons how they were able to investigate all about the theft. Furthermore, she said that vandalism, theft of electricity infrastructure, and payment apathy from customers remain major issues negatively impacting power supply. So hopefully that if these are adjusted, maybe people can have more electricity in those regions. Okay, moving on quickly now to the Punch. Schools in 14 states, FCT risk attack, says federal government. Ramadan begins today, Sultan 6 prayers against insecurity and hardship. Ogun police nab 3 for murder attempt. Blackout worsens as hoodlums vandalize transmission line. All earnings rise by 450 billion naira in 2 months, says federal government. Tinubu launches student loan on Thursday. Foreign scholars seek inclusion. Only foreign borrowing can save Nigeria clear CBN debt, says EIU. And Naira devaluation fueling massive regional exports, says governors. Okay,
so I have the blackout worsens as hoodlums vandalize transmission line. The TCN, the Transmission Company of Nigeria, on Sunday declared that their Shiroro Kantape 330 kVA transmission line was vandalized, and it's the 5th time of this incident. They said that the vandals destroyed towards 70 along its 330 kVA Gwagwalada Kantape transmission line in Abuja. And this, of course, has resulted in blackout. Stakeholders are asking the federal government to now secure every point of transmission that the TCN operates because of this continuous vandalization that is happening all the time in the country.
And affecting everybody. I don't know why they think that. Do we have time to take one more story?
Yeah.
Yes, so the Ogun State Police Command has arrested 3 suspects, Monsuru Musa, Adija Monsuru, Shehu Diko, for alleged attempted murder of a commercial motorcycle rider identified simply as Tijani in Afonta area of Abeokuta State. So according to the story from the police, they said that the incident happened last Monday at about 6:10 p.m. And, the motorcyclist had severe injuries on the crown of his head, his neck, and his lower lip. And the story was started when Monsuru stopped the bike man, Tijani, to take her to an area in Abeokuta State. And before they got there, she said, please stop, I have some friends that will be joining me since we're going the same route. And the bike man stopped. Then she took his phone, made a call, and 2 other guys came. That's the other 2, Musa and Diko. They arrived at the scene, and while he was just trying to, start his ignition so that they can go, they tried to strangle him using a rope from behind. So it was a major struggle. Then the lady who called the bike took a wood from the floor and hit his head. So he started screaming. Luckily for him, there were passerbys, there were people around the village who now came to the scene and apprehended those 3 people. They had been taken to the police. The police has confirmed that they are a group, they're part of a syndicate, and their job is to steal motorcycle or bikes from, innocent people who are just, moving around and doing their businesses. So, but they have been arrested and they will be prosecuted.
Okay, let's go on a short break now. When we come back, we continue with our review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still reviewing Punch. Have a story?
Yes. So I have the Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Mr. Aju Ngalale, has said that the President will launch the student loan scheme on Thursday, March 14th, 2024. As you remember, the President had June 12, 2023, signed the Access to Higher Education Act to 2023 into law to enable indigent students to access interest-free loans for their educational pursuits in any Nigerian tertiary institution. There was a date that had been given for this launch, which was February 7, but it didn't take off then. And the reason that we were given from sources from the presidency was that was to enable the fund to expand its mandates to include students seeking loans for skills development as directed by the president. So they had received a briefing from NEL Fund team which was led by Minister of State for Education. And the president directed the fund to extend interest-free loans to Nigerian students interested in skill development programs. President based his decision on the need for the scheme to accommodate those who may not want to pursue university education, noting that skill acquisition is as essential as obtaining undergraduate and graduate academic qualification. He says this is not an exclusive program. It is catering to all of our young people. Young Nigerians are gifted in different areas, he said.
Okay, let me talk about the governor's reactions to the food crisis. So, according to the Nigerian Governors Forum, many governors are coming together to see what they can do to alleviate this issue of food crisis. So, for example, Kwara, Kogi are coming together to see what they can do to increase the production of maize, cassava, rice in conjunction with the Ministry of Agriculture. We have the governor of Niger State and Enugu working together, investing in agriculture. Kano State has raided all the warehouses within the state that they suspect of hoarding food. Yobe State is doing similar. Niger, so many other states, other governors are doing everything, and they found that Nigerian, our food exportation is getting cheaper, more competitive because of the dollar devaluation. It's making Nigerian food cheaper. So exporting right now is a good time. So organized private sector and economists are saying that, listen, the devaluation of the Naira, while presenting broad economic challenges within Nigeria, does appear to have inadvertent enhanced competitiveness of Nigerian food and grain exports within the West African region. So hopefully if we can increase production, more people will buy our own food, and then we can begin to earn the dollar that we're hoping to have. Moving on now very quickly to Daily Sun. Budget padding, Senate splits. Senators out to get to the root of matter. Cooking gas, dealers, buyers lament price surge, seek federal government intervention. Nigeria's inflation to hit over 30%, says UK-based Economic Intelligence Group. Soldiers claim killing 20 IPOB fighters in Imo, destroy 50 hideouts. Revoke unlawful directive to block Nigerians' phone lines or face legal action, Serap tells NCC. Sultan announces sighting of crescent moon for Ramadan fasting, and Tinubu orders customs to return seized items to owners.
Yes, so President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has ordered the Nigerian Customs Service, NCS, to return the food items seized at various border communities to their rightful owners, with the caveat that the items will be sold in the Nigerian markets. The Controller General of Customs, Adewale Adini, was one who made this disclosure in Katsina at the weekend while meeting with the people from the border areas of Kongolam and Mai Adwa border stations. And according to him, he said the president has made this decision not using his authority, but also reflecting a deep sense of generosity that he holds towards Nigerians. And in doing so, he has directed that all food items that were going out of the country that have been seized by the customs around the border area should be returned to the owners, but they must promise that they are going to sell to Nigerians instead of, exporting or smuggling it out of the country. And they will also be monitored to know if there's a violation in this regard. And so that's how they made the, but they also talked about opening of the borders, said they are having conversations to see how the borders can be reopened again. Nigeria should just be a bit patient, and they will sort out all the details.
Okay. I have the cooking gas story, and according to the Sun, some operators and the consumers of cooking gas are lamenting the high cost of it. According to them, cooking gas is now currently selling between 8,300 naira to 8,600 naira per kg, as compared to last year that it was 900. The automotive gas as diesel is also expensive. Chukwuma, an official of Shaw Gas Limited, said the high cost of diesel is due to transportation of petroleum products, which includes gas as well. The Promise Aju Jumbo, Chief Executive Officer of Promise of God Gas Company, also talked about why this is expensive. He says that this is, of course, due to the high cost of transportation and foreign exchange, the high cost of foreign exchange. Yeah. Sadly, it is confirmed in this report that even from the NLNG that is here in our Nigeria here, gas is sold in foreign currencies. Wow. So they have to, first of all, source dollars to be able to buy the gas and pay for it. And so Nigerians are made to pay for something that is locally sourced using in foreign currencies. Of course, they will first of all pay the difference. And then the cost of transportation of getting it across the country is also affected. I think that one is something we can deliberately look into. This one is human-made suffering.
Yes, sir.
But they insist that those are the circumstances. They're asking government to control forex as well as control cost of diesel to transport it.
Should we move on to Vanguard? Businesses suffocating as energy costs shoot skywards. National Assembly padded 2024 budget by 1.2 trillion, not Tinubu, says President. Muslims begin Ramadan fast today. Hunger. If FG fails to secure farmers, food prices will remain high, says Fakan. My husband won't be distracted by current challenges, Oluremi Tinubu reassures. And fresh suits ask court to deregister Labour Part and bar candidates. Any story here? So the First Lady, speaking at the inauguration of the new executive of Women's Wing of the Christian Association of Nigeria, While We Can, in Abuja, expressed her husband's dedication to alleviating hunger, anger, and division within the nation, while also strengthening Nigeria's identity under guidance. Represented by Mrs. Dayo Benjamin Olaniyi, the FCT Mandate Secretary for Women Affairs, Mr. Tinubu emphasized the importance of the renewed hope agenda in establishing a humanitarian connection to the elderly women and girl child and enriching the broader community. Moving on quickly now to The Point. Let's find the story of not taking. APC would not trade Aiyedatiwa for uncertainty in Ondo, says Kayode Ajulo. Retired AIG reveals how politicians groom criminals, arm them with guns. Intrigue, acrimony, horse trading reshape Edo governorship election. And Nigerians fault Labour on minimum wage. Okay, which story are we starting with?
According to the Commissioner for Justice in Ondo State, it's a long interview because he's just been conferred with the SAN title, and this interview was basically on his journey as a civil rights activist as well as, a long-standing lawyer. And now the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice and Special Advisor to the Governor on judicial matters. He was talking about one of the excerpts, he was talking about how the party is not prepared to trade certainty for uncertainty. Certainty meant that, let me quote him, only a political party that is not prepared for victory would take a risk with its best chance of winning in an election. The governor has demonstrated his ability to establish connections with leaders and the people, and I do not believe that the party will trade him for someone that they are not sure of his network.
Last paper, Nigerian Tribune, let's take a story of not seen. Customs must compensate families of Lagos stampede victims, says Falana. Flooding, Lagos government begins enforcement of drainages right of way. NDLE arrests 2 grandpas, uncovered illicit drug consignment in commercial bus. We are authentic stakeholders in Ekiti, says Fayoshe Group, and why Naira remains under intense pressure. Okay,
Lagos State has begun enforcement of the 3 meters drainage right-of-way for its drainage channels across the state. The exercise is aimed at finding a lasting solution to the problem of flood in the state. So the operation is expected to take place at Apapa, Lekki Coastal Road, Aja, and environs this week. And the Commissioner for Environment and Water Resources, Mr. Tokunbo Wahab, says the enforcement was coming after the expiration of notices and stakeholders meeting with property owners. The ministry served contravention notices to the buildings on the drainage setbacks, adding that for several years, the ministry has not been able to access the 8 major collectors for maintenance purpose due to encroachment, and therefore the government, is determined to finding a lasting solution to the flooding issues in Apapa.
Yes, there was a video trending about a house that was about to be demolished, and saying that they only give them 48 hours or 24 hours notice, and government is saying that no, we've actually
given much longer.
Telling them
about that place. Okay, we have to wrap up. That's all we can take on front page review. When we come back, we want our hot topic of today. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. On Saturday, the late Herbert Wigwe, his wife, Chioba Wigwe, and his son Chizi were laid to rest in his hometown, Isiokpo in Rivers State. The event was well attended with people from all walks of life. However, what got talking of that event was the words, the war of words between the former governor of the state, Rivers State, who is now the number 3 man of the Federation, Senator Godswill Akpabio, and the current governor of the state, Governor Fubara, at the event. The event was one of those events where everybody who was anybody in the corporate world, even in politics, were all there in attendance. And on that day, both men thought it was important for them to trade political jabs with each other. Watch this clip, just in case you haven't seen it.
This one has to do with our political class. What is all this struggle all about? You want to kill, you want to bury. What is it all about?
What is the struggle all about? I will answer you. The struggle, we are not talking politics. In 2006, I wanted to be a deputy governor. So the then deputy governor invited me and told me that this office has no money. There is nothing in it. I don't know why you still insist on moving me from here and taking over. So a woman who went with me said, Your Excellency, then don't wait for impeachment. Just resign since there is nothing in it. And he stood up and he started punching the woman. And I told him, Your Excellency, don't punch her. She's telling the truth. There is nothing in the office. That's why I want it, because you are too big for it. So, Your Excellency, Governor Fubara, if there is nothing in the struggle, don't struggle.
Okay, so there are 2 parts of that story. Unfortunately, we didn't get the full comments of Governor Fubara, because actually, for those who attended, said that he was speaking on the point of empathy. What he was trying to say is that, listen, what are we looking for? What is this struggle? So he had set a premise before he made that statement, trying to refer to the fact that we should, as politicians, we also must remember that everything ends here.
Yeah.
He also made a comparison between the late Wigwe and the politician. He said Wigwe made his money clearly not from politics and touched more lives than some politician would. Just, I think he was in the right course.
Yes, it was. However, in response to that, the Senate president thought it was throwing a political jab at him and responded. Worse still, people laughed whilst you're having 3 corpses in your presence, and people were thinking that was quite insensitive. Crass insensitivity.
So
now,
for me,
let me come to you.
The person that could not recognize the 3 corpses in front of him was the Senate president, who did not know decorum, timing, and how to talk. The people who laughed, comic relief. They are grieving. Everybody's tension.
Yeah.
So somebody decided to become a comedian. It's good.
We'll laugh, yeah.
They do it in what's it, tragedy, literature.
Yes.
So
Tragic comedy.
Tension. So it's a tragic
comedy,
situation. They had lost 3 members of one family, with both parents alive, witnessing that, and so
Children.
is allowed. But the Senate president said not politics, and then talked politics at a person's burial. Petty for me, very, very below standard. I think from now, the Senate president should just learn to be
Mom,
a lot of times.
Yeah. What a lot of people kept saying, it was a back and forth. I don't know, one thing that irks me is when somebody uses back and forth with me. Like, oh, I'm not doing this back and forth, especially when I just did back. You did forth. You forth my back. That the governor of Rivers State did not do back and forth. He just came out. He read his speech, and you could see the message of that speech was this vanity upon vanity. With all these things that we're doing, with all these things we're chasing, especially in politics, where it has almost become a do or die affair. To what end, And for me, I think it was clear to everyone who's an adult. You would normally hear that sort of message, especially at funerals, to say that everything that we're fighting for today, there will be a time that you can't take it anywhere. And so it's supposed to help us reflect on how we do things, knowing that we cannot take it beyond, life. And there's a life after death. So who are you? What sort of person are you in, right now? And what sort of person how would you like to meet your maker? That was what that message was about. Our Senate president, however, thought it was a political jab at him. And I remember the saying also, they say, the guiltiest runneth when no one chaseth. So for whatever reason, he felt that was to him. But then remember the priest or the pastor for the event. I think that man is just a fabulous pastor. And he, without directly pointing a finger at our Senate president, made him look small. Showed the pettiness of what our Senate president did when he said, please, could we give a round of applause to what our governor said? Because everyone else, every adult there understood that this was the essence of the message. It was not about politics. There are different places for things like that. You can go and give each other jabs here and there. And I find this attitude, it's become quite widespread. It's, very symptomatic of a lot of things that's happening, in our country. Funerals are happening. We don't have this attitude of being mournful, of mourning, of being reflective. Yeah. It's a party season. It's an opportunity to take pictures. Nothing to do with those who have passed on and how we should look at our lives for those of us who have been left behind.
I'll come to that because that's an important point you raised. But what are your initial thoughts on this video?
So I saw the video and I was laughing because, when you get to a place like that and people are talking, people will talk based off of what they have seen, the lessons they have gleaned from what has happened. And that was basically Fubara's message. This is a lesson to us all. Whatever it is that we are fighting for, we are plotting for, we are struggling for, there is no need. At the end of the day, it's still vanity. But like the saying goes, old women feel uneasy when dry bones are mentioned. The Senate, president decided that, okay, this old bone now, I think I have the old bone. I think I'm the old bone. And he decided to react. And that also casts my mind back to working on ourselves when the world isn't watching, so that when we stand on the stage, we do not mess up ourselves. There's something that has been happening to me of late. I've been deliberately choosing not to respond negatively to situations, not to react, that's the word, react negatively to situations. So people will come on my page and insult me, and I'll read it, I'll laugh, and I'll move on. And that's not the Obiajulo of before. Obiajulo of before is as you are giving to me, I'm giving to you. But you continue like that for a very long time, it becomes a habit. Now, when you get to a place where you are supposed to match the brakes, because this has become a habit you are used to, you cannot match the brakes, and you end up being embarrassing yourself. And that's exactly what has happened. Not everything should be reacted to. He could have just done his own speech without going to give us the history of what happened and all of that, and moved on. And people will not even relate anything to him. But him now explaining and, giving back now brought people to say, okay, so you were guilty, or you think they were talking about you. And that can open another can of worms.
Isn't that the problem we have with most of our politicians? Anything anybody says is about them. They take it so personal.
Yeah.
Every single thing. They can't take criticism well because
it's a character flaw.
Personal.
Yeah.
So and that's part of the problems politicians have. They don't know how to handle feedback from people. You hear somewhere and automatically it's an attack. Usually, as my job as a moderator,
we faced it here now.
Yeah, we face it here all the time. My job as a moderator is really to see all the sides, and I'm struggling really to see his point of view because I'm trying to see, okay, if I were Senate President and I see Fubara here saying something, would I use the opportunity, especially when you don't read the room? You are at a funeral of young people.
Yeah.
These are young people. They're not it's old people. They're parties.
Yes, that point that can be in support of the Senate President.
Okay,
so in the South,
yes,
we celebrate the death of old people. If you like, be closer to your grandpa at 100 plus. If he died, they will tell you killed him so you can do party because you will do party.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they
doesn't matter.
You don't chop him.
So they jab and joke
With
at
it.
such
Over.
a burial.
Okay.
But the room at this time is, as you said, young people.
Young people. These are
The
young
whole
people.
family.
The whole family. And you see children here mourning their parents. And you have the audacity to spew such.
Yes, so Mariah,
Lack
that's...
of tact.
Yes,
Yeah.
so that brings us back to emotional intelligence as well. So a lot of us find our way into positions that we are not properly prepped and prepared for. And nobody will prep you. It's something you will decide by yourself that I'm going somewhere, how do I want to show up every day that I get there? How do I want to show up every day in my home? How do I want to show up every day with my colleagues? How do I want to show up every day in my workplace? It's something that we are deliberate about. And when you get to a certain age, it becomes difficult to unlearn a lot of habits. And that's why we have to be looking at ourselves, the younger people, our children, people around us, so that they can begin to build on these good habits. It's not when you get to 50-something that we're going to be teaching you emotional intelligence. You should understand, read the room and know, okay, this is not the appropriate place for this. We go for trainings over and over here, and we have a topic. Maybe they give us a topic. You get there, and you realize that, this topic will not make sense to these people.
You change.
And you change. Just to be able to read, because you can read the room, you can test the energy there, and you give them what is appropriate. So even if somebody throws a jab at you and you read the room, this is not the place. I can meet him in his office and sort it out later. This is not the place for it. But because for how many years of your life you've not been able to self-regulate and hold yourself back? It's difficult.
I've also said it several times
difficult.
on this table, because our politicians forget that they also need PR people, like proper PR. Because I watch a lot of political shows, political drama series. And I know if I can sit down, I love them. For every time you step out, there's a plan. You don't just step out for the sake. You're going to a funeral, what you say, how you say, what you wear, the colors you put on, how you stand, how you look at, who you respond to. Everything is planned and orchestrated. And there are people who do this. So politicians need to begin to start reconsidering that you are just not you're not just a leader, you're a public figure. That every time you step out, there's got to be a plan for you, because nobody directed this man in what he said. He just spoke out of voice. You can't speak from the heart.
You should be able to separate your past from where you are presently. So we know the drama between Fubara and the side that the Senate president most likely will take in this that is happening with the FCT minister. But even if it was at a birthday party for a newborn or a naming ceremony, is that a place and time to jab at the governor? You can also decide that whatever the governor might have intended is not of your concern. You are bigger than it, because you are. You are the Senate president, the third man, Abi.
Yes.
So you will come to an event, because even after he made that speech, he went around shaking hands. So I'm the Senate, people will come and hobnob, hypocrites and all of that. They'll come and do sacrifices for him and hobnob around him and do all of those things. So but you can say, not this time. It's not now.
Not this place.
You carry yourself in such a way that I came here for serious business.
Something else.
I am also mourning this person because I know the person. I don't believe he would have attended if he didn't even know the person. But you don't attend such a burial and joke. I've gone to burials that even I was forced to laugh with the person whose mother died because the way they were all joking. In fact, a friend of mine lost her brother, very young guy, when we were back in school. I was in 100 level that year. She was already in 300 level. And she was in so much grief that when I visited, I decided not to join in the grief. I decided to become her comedian. I started to joke. Is that your brother that used to wear shorts the other day? Wow. So she kept laughing and laughing, and she said, there's a twist to your visit. But it is focused on the person who is bereaved, not focused on yourself. This kind of...
let's jump in.
Yes, I was going to say that, there are a lot of things that I started saying earlier that we do as a society, or we have started doing as a society, that we need to check ourselves. And, I'm questioning where the problem is. Is it a question with our, I'm questioning, is it our education? Is it, what has changed? Because we are people that, our adults, the elders have always led, behavior. We learn from the kind of education we have is that we learn from our elders how they behave, how they carry themselves in places. If you say there are some things you would say, somebody would say it's because it's a child. It's childishness that is worrying the person. But then when you now see our elders now doing the same, what has happened to these particular elders? Was there a point that they stopped learning? And when you look at Oyibo people, for them, the way you can tell how someone, the way you can differentiate from someone that is well-behaved and one who isn't, is the sort of education that they get. So if you get education, that means they would have taught you how to speak, how to carry yourself, what you say, you know, how to comport yourself generally. But here, we all go to school. We're all rushing to go to university and things like that. And somehow, the education is not reflecting in, you know, in the way we carry ourselves. Our Senate President definitely has been to school, several, I'm sure. But isn't there a way that you're taught how to carry yourself? It just shows. Americans, they would say, you know, there are some things that they insist upon, or there's some things that help you when you're running for office, either the school that you went and the kind of family that you come from. And it's not just about money. It shows that you have a grooming, you know, that says you are able to carry yourself in such a decent way. We look at the royal family, you know, things like that. Even here in Nigeria, there are some people, because of their names and the family that they come from, there's a way they carry themselves. So to have our own Senate President act the way that he acted, it shows there's a lack of home training, shows a lack of, you know, like education isn't there, you know, different things. And for me, I'm not talking of Senate President, I'm using him as an example for a lot of people. There are many things that happened towards this particular funeral that we were questioning. I mean, look at the church we were talking about. There was a whole party that was thrown. People were dancing left and right of a person that is from your church. It was, for me, it was so cringy. I could not believe that, you know. I expected that church would rally around this family at this time and show that they too have lost someone. A church especially, that is your son that you have lost. So if we do that in church, what do we expect of politicians? So there is a problem in Nigeria, really.
I think I can go on a break with that, because that's worth digesting and sipping through. We need to really understand what you just break down what you just said, because it's not just a politician's problem. It's all of us. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still talking about what happened at the funeral of Herbert Wigwe and his wife and son, where Senate President and the governor of Rivers State were exchanging jabs. You can call us on the numbers on your screen to join the conversation: 081-0764-1679, 090-241-63440, or you can tweet to us at TVC Connect using the hashtag YourViewOnTVC. You can also watch us on YouTube, TVC Entertainment, and send your comments there too. We'll be happy to read them. Nima, you're going to say something, because Mariam was speaking earlier that it's all of us. It's not just the politicians.
I was looking for the link so I can properly quote it. So there was a church service in Rivers State for the late Wigwe and his family. And the MC had introduced Peter Obi. He was made to reintroduce him because the applause and the welcome was not
high enough. As the audience insisted.
Yes. So he did that. So it's just as Miriam had alluded earlier, it's a Nigerian thing. It's like our head no they correct for many certain circumstances. You are mourning. The three corpses, the three coffin day from front of you. What else do you need as a sign to be sober? We had to focus on all our past from 2023 elections. We carried that one into this. Senate President Chukwuma did not even know how to lead. He came and worsened the situation. And everybody just kept being selfish and self-centered in their speeches and address to this issue. I felt, you know, a lot of people referring to how they were instrumental or how Wigwe was instrumental to them was a bit somehow. But this one is the lowest of it. This one is really, really upsetting.
According to Atero Peter's side too, he was saying that that the Senate President was also complaining that Peter Obi got more of arousing applause compared to him. So I didn't see that, but based on what Atero Peter's side tweeted, he also said that the whole thing was quite distasteful, and he was quite disappointed in what the Senate President. As I said, I'm trying really hard to see all the angles, but it's so difficult to see.
This happened in, Maria, this happened in church. Christians, let's talk to ourselves. let's just sit down and talk to ourselves. Who is our standard? What is our standard? Who are we looking up to? Who are we copying? Who are we acting like? Because we have shown, no. This is terrible. This whole conversation we're also talking about happened in church. I promise you, it will not happen in a mosque. I promise you. When Muslims sit down to honor their dead, they don't involve themselves in this kind of back and forth and talking. There's a place for everything. Yes, we like to praise and worship God, but even He recognizes that there's a time. The Bible says something here, Ecclesiastes. Sorry, I'm taking your role today.
I don't understand.
Bible. Yeah. But Ecclesiastes 7:2, it's better to go to a house of mourning than to go to a house of feasting. So I'm using this again to refer to the party that happened in his own church. So, I sat down with a couple of Christians, some of who were pastors, and they were trying to explain this thing to me in different ways. And I just could not understand how the Bible has now become a book that nobody understands anymore. It doesn't mean anything. It depends on
different things.
It depends on the day, who you know, who you are friends with, what side of the bed you wake up on. It's so wrong. Apart from the religious side, as a people, let's figure out how we want to carry ourselves when we are at funerals. Yeah. Let's teach ourselves. Usually we call out young people for bad behavior, but now I understand that everything we complain about our young people is because the elders, even the church thing, we're 60s plus. People are in your 60s and above, and you're acting this way. Heavens! I'm disappointed in us. As Christians, I'm disappointed in us.
Then I think we have also moved away from focusing on being good human beings to being attached to our labels and our identity. Identity meaning the caps that we wear. So you are a politician, you are a medical doctor, you are a chief, you are this. And when people do not recognize you with those labels that you wear, you feel it's a direct attack to who you are. But that's not who you are. It's a label that you wear. And if you come into a place and people do not recognize you, go and sit down quietly. Even the scripture said it. Sit there, let them now say, okay, where are you? Or come to the front. We have kept your space in the front. But this insisting on you must see me, you must recognize me, you must call me all my titles is a problem that we have deviated from focusing on being good to. And that's why we fight and kill and do whatever it is to keep us at those levels, because that is all we think about. And as a result of that, we have lost respect in who we are as human beings. And when you don't respect yourself, you will not respect your environment, you will not respect the people around you, you will not respect the dead, you will not respect anybody, because it's all about me, selfishness.
Let me take this call from Isiaka. It's calling from Auchi. Thanks for calling. You're live.
Good morning, madam.
Good morning.
Hello.
The Senate President, you know him, and he's occupying a very important position. Now, there's what we call a baba in Isako. You should just stop it and be focused. There's a place when you are mourning, you focus and you think about your life. Am I going to end this way? When am I going to end? This is what mourning is all about. It's not about talking and talking and talking. Good morning. I really love your program. Thank you very much.
Right. So if the Senate President thought it was important to respond to Fubara, it's possible that there's a way he could have done it in a subtle way, not this obvious. Because, I mean, he was just trying to say, listen, I'm trying really hard.
You're trying really hard. That was not the place.
Let me try to rephrase my thoughts. I'm saying that as a Senate President, this is a governor, and you feel that, okay, he threw a jab at you. There could have been a better way to respond to him in a subtle way that is not obviously obvious that you're trying to throw a jab at him. Maybe he was just trying to send a message that listen.
You know how when we're growing up, there are some things we used to hear this. The best answer to a fool is silence.
Silence is golden.
So if you feel the person is being foolish, give the person silence. It's not
ignore
everything.
it. Silence the response.
Good. So he would have been silent. He would have ignored it and left him with whatever thoughts he had. Yeah. And this system or style of you give me, I give you. We know
Nigerian factor.
Savages. That is the problem.
It's not taking us anywhere.
You know, it will not take you anywhere.
Well, I have to ask a question, Miriam. Who checks the Senate President? Who checks us when we do this? When we goof like this in the church, in the politics, even as Nigerians? who checks us? Who's going to tell us? Who should check us?
We're checking him this morning now.
You know what you said this? You know the father of the house is usually above any mistake.
Yeah.
So when they even make mistakes and the child comes and says, shut up, don't talk to your elders like that. And all of those things. You cannot call out an elder for their mistakes. I grew up like that, badly trained according to my aunties. Because if my father was talking outside in public and I didn't feel it was because Daddy, wait. I'll go to him. I didn't even used to whisper. Growing up, I used to just shout, Daddy, no. So there was an issue of infidelity from the village that was called about. And they were sitting in council and talking about it. And he was supporting his sister. And I came and said, if it was your daughter, a man said, you see, I told you this guy is badly raised. I said, you would not see the side of the woman. It's only your brother. He did take care of her, you know. And my answer said, badly raised. You don't call out an elder. So the senior president will now carry the behavior of, I can do no wrong. Thank you. Into political office. You see that? Then because the senior president is untouchable. He's the Senate president. He has had a lot of goose at the floor of the house. Did that tell him to stop talking?
Yeah. But the pastor the pastor also stepped in. You know, he came to make a speech and he now highlighted what Fubara said and, you know, tried to explain it. And he says, you know, they should all applaud the governor. And when they were doing that, the camera now zoomed on both the governor and the Senate president. In my mind, I said, I'm sure the Senate president felt it. I'm sure he got the message even from there. I hope he did.
So in answer to your question, we need to begin to check our society needs to begin to check itself, right? Because we are the only ones that can purify the debts that we have gathered by ourselves. What we are doing here is part of the check. The day I goof, you people check me. The day you goof, I check you. You know, everybody just holds. As long as we know the standards that we want to go back to, we know the right things from the wrong things. When people around you are goofing that goof, you have to check them. You do not leave any man in isolation because of fear of, okay, if I check Mariah now, she'll likely give me a query or she'll not be my friend anymore. And then I keep quiet and allow her mess up in public. So we must begin to hold ourselves accountable now that we are saying no to all those people who are giving bass. Yes, allow yourself. No to all those people who are fighting. No to all those people who are using wrong language. No. The society does not stand for it. What it takes to be a role model, a politician, a leader, is that you set yourself apart from the group. You are the example. Everybody's looking at you, and people can also call you to order. So we hold ourselves accountable. This is not acceptable. And like you said, I like that advice that you gave. Our politicians need to invest in a team, a capable team that will train them how to speak, how to talk, how to respond, and things they are not supposed to respond to. So before you are going out, you have a plan on how you want to show up for that day and see how we can, you know,
somebody else says that
give better examples.
Yes, they are using some unprintable words, which I'm not going to use to describe our Senate president. But somebody says he lacks sympathy and empathy, and he could have done. He knows better. He should have done better. So I mean, we're going to be wrapping up. I'd like to take a few comments on social media. Go ahead.
Emmanuel says Fubara essentially said vanity upon vanity, highlighting an age-old cliche, so it leaves many wondering why Akpabio should feel triggered over a general comment about the ephemeral and fleeting nature of life, especially at such sober gathering, harbor. And for me, there's a saying in our local proverbs that the madman never knows he's mad. It's his family members who think.
I'll be shy on his behalf.
There must be one relative that is very, because it cannot just be psychophants all around him. There must be one relative who thinks, who will be able to say, it's okay.
Uncle, no be so.
You know, when everybody say, you're right, that's when I usually slow down. So I'm sure there will be one person in that family that will be saying, you're not right. There's a better way to do it.
What if that statement had it was not directed at him? What if in his mind he just stood up and he made that statement? And if there's an X-ray for us to check, Fubara, for us to check his mind, we'll see that he had no connotation directed at him. But what we see, it could be that he was not in his mind when that statement came.
Let me tell you.
It was just him marveling at life and how everything is just vanity.
That was what happened.
And it hit him. So that shows where his mind has been.
That's
where his mind is. Let me tell you what my conspiracy is. So the hosting governor is Fubara. And you know when the governor is hosting, everybody wants to be focused on him. But when the Senate president now comes, he's supposed to turn your attention to me. Not see me. And then Fubara then goes and makes a statement. It's like, you're enjoying this loud applause. It's me. I'm bigger than you.
Especially when we also heard
that was why he had to respond, because all the while he sat down. For me, he just kept thinking,
They not see me.
Yeah, so especially as you know, we just heard that he wasn't happy about the applause Peter Obi got in comparison to him. And also the Bible says it, when you go to a place, don't quickly go to the place
front.
of honor. You know, they will embarrass you, stay at the back, and then they will come and honor you. This is all in the Bible. What is it? Why are we not reading it? What are we reading?
Some people are asking that, you know, so how, I said, how do we check? I said we're checking.
Yes.
But what do we require of these adults when they goof in this kind of situation? Because some have said, a public apology. So imagine the church, for example, says, you know what we did was wrong, we should have done this, or even Senate President says, you know what, actually, I shouldn't have done, I should have been more sensitive to the fact that there are children here who are mourning their parents and siblings. I mean, it was just the wrong place. So I think even in our checking, we should also be making demands of what we expect of these people to do.
So demands would be like maybe the second step. The first one is that we hope that, you know, people showing displeasure for the way you have behaved, you'll be humble enough to hear the message and do what is right by you. Do not wait for a demand. So waiting for a demand for me already shows that you're not even in that space where you understand what you have done. Somebody has to spell it out. You know, sometimes you have a certain behavior and you get away with it until you come outside before you now realize, oh, so my people have just been, you know,
trying to save me this embarrassment.
My people have helped me save face all this time, and here I am out in the open. Now I see what my behavior is like. Only a humble person will understand it and make the required, make the required amendments. But when you demand, that means this person is not ready.
Yeah, but we have to wrap up on this.
Very common.
So let us just take a final word.
Yes, some people, if you don't make demands, they will never get it. And that's where they are. That's where their emotion is. That's where the emotion stops growing at that point. So we help them. So for people who can use their common sense to understand that, the atmosphere in the room have goofed and they hold themselves, congratulations to them. For those people who cannot, we will show you that this is goof. We'll spell it out for you in complete sentences and you
I
get
believe
it.
that from Wigwesbury, I've learned and reconfirmed my conviction on not having public events of private family time. So this family have two parents alive who are burying 3 of their children, whether you like it or not. It should have been a private affair. All the publicity is costing the parents so many things.
I agree.
That's all we can take on this segment. That's all we can take. We're going to short break. When we come back, we continue with the show. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So politicians are just topping our news this entire weekend. We have yet another video that went viral. Governor Chukwuma Soludo of Anambra State was seen berating his commissioner for works, engineer Ifeanyi Okoma, over some road inspection. In the governor's word says, "You are incompetent." Hey. The governor also threatened to sack him in public.
Jesus.
Should the governor have found another way instead of showing out, embarrassing him in public that way? What are your thoughts of chastising him, affecting his emotions possibly? If you were to be the commissioner of works and you're embarrassed like that, how would you feel? Join the conversation. You can call us on 081-076-41679, 0902-4163440. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets. Let's watch the clip so we can have an understanding of what's going on.
It's being built here. You stopped it, you come and bulldoze it down. If I come here again and I see any of this rubbish, I'll sack you publicly. I'm incompetent. They began it and you are watching it going on and you didn't bring it down. Where is the walkway? Come and show me the walkway. Where show me? Bring it down. It's happening and it's going on. Look at it. Look at this. 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 Coming out on the road. Who changed it? Who changed this? This is not here. This is supposed to be there. So what? Don't say, okay, you tell me the person, tell me the officer, and I'll kick him out. Let me tell you, Okpoko, we must regenerate. This chaos must end. See, all these shops, all these shanty shops along this road that is attached to the wall, this fence, the fence must go back, and you have at least 1 meter where people can walk. No, that's you stopped, but it's gone on and you've done nothing. But I stopped. And I'm just telling you, pull this thing down tomorrow.
We have Hurricane Wike, we have Action Governor Soludo. We have all of them around. You know, gradually things are just somewhat changing. So Governor Soludo has said, I will sack you. You are incompetent to his Commissioner for Works. Obviously, stuff like this goes viral. And Nigerians just want everybody to be flogging everybody and be sacking everybody and be, you know, that's for us is governance. But what are your thoughts on this? Because there's one thing to be this kind of governor that wants to be hands-on. There's also the part of respect and regard for the people working with you. The fact that people also want to feel that they are respected for the work they do. So how do we do both and not come across as being insulting or condescending of those working with us? So let me come to you. What are your thoughts on the video? Let me start with you, Nima. Miriam, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, so I want to understand. I'm asking all of us here. The problem, is it the way he spoke to him or the fact that it was on camera? I think there are two things. Because I've been privy to conversations that happen at commissionings and some, you know, with government people and contractors. This is the sort of conversation that happen. How dare you? How does it look? But it's not on camera. So it happens because I'm giving you a job. If it's normal human person like me, and I give you my 5 naira and you don't do it well, I will talk to you that way, especially if it's something that we have been going back and forth over. So this is the sort of conversation that happens everywhere. I think there was a time they also said Obasanjo was supposed to commission something, and when he saw it, it was like, what? Me, this one, something must be wrong with you, you know? So it happens where the governor or whoever it is that's giving you the job is unhappy with how you have carried it out. And that conversation happens. Now, there was a camera following this person. So I don't know if it was a TV camera or if it was someone who had a phone and was close enough to have access to the conversation that was that was happening. But for me, all the things that the governor said, they were valid. We need walkways. A job has been assigned to you. Clearly, you haven't been keeping, you haven't been monitoring the work to the point that it has gone so, so far, and the mistakes are just right there for anybody to see. What was even more sad for me was that the commissioner seemed even clueless as the governor. He didn't even understand. So it goes to the point of, Mr. Governor, you are the one that employed this, you are the one that appointed this commissioner. Did you do the due diligence, or was it a commissioner that was appointed because, for political reasons? So it brought up a lot of questions for me. Honestly, we should, that's why, we sometimes say, put people who understand the job to be in some positions, because they would understand what to do. But concerning the walkway, it shows a forward-thinking governor, and he's demanding that the right thing be done. I don't see anything wrong with that.
Nima, your thoughts?
Okay, so, but one, I think it was misplaced, but I think this individual was incompetent, and I'm going to say why. So the governor was directing his issues to the Minister for Works. I don't think the Commissioner for Works is in charge of this. There should be somebody in physical planning who monitor building and approvals like this, who should ensure that,
under the commissioner? Though.
Yes, under this, yes. Who's supposed to, whose business? Because in Lagos State, when you have this kind of issues, you go to the Department of Physical Planning. If you write to the Commissioner for Works or the department, they would minute it to that relevant authority. So but what I find funny was the Nigerian thing of not accepting responsibility when the government, he said they put it up, Who be the they?
Who was supposed to supervise?
The commissioner answered him. He said he met it, we woke up and met it like that. It's not me, it's them. You know, that kind of thing. So that kind of issue, we'll see to it immediately, because you're the commissioner, you can refer that issue to the relevant department. You can call that department and say, this will be done immediately. Your response would have helped the governor to say that, we missed this, but we'll make sure that this is done. You then write to whoever is relevant, who is supposed to see to it that every building...
That's the commissioner's job now, not the governor.
The commissioner for works' job is to ensure that the plans for works that the governor has are done. It's not to monitor buildings.
But who would I hold? If I'm the governor, who would I hold?
Wait, they are on tour together.
I will hold the commissioner.
1 minute. They are on tour together.
Yes.
Commissioner for works is to ensure that roads, buildings, schools, that the governor... That's not his job.
No, you don't.
There's a department called
the person who appointed him. Being married. It's only the person who appointed him.
Let's follow the hierarchy.
Can tell us whose job it is. So, because governors can say, okay, under your own office, this is what I want you to do. So, if the governor is accusing him of something he has appointed him to do, so we can't say this is what you're supposed to do. But however,
works should ensure buildings are conforming with the standards.
Either way, the governor
who supervises this fiscal...
Urban and regional planning and physical planning.
Under which ministry?
In an organogram, you have the person that is... Yes, there's a hierarchy. You have the person that you report to. And the governor was doing right by the person that he had appointed to be in charge of that project.
Everybody.
So that's why he was on tour with him. That's why he was not on tour with everybody else beneath him.
No, I want to believe in that team and other commissioners, but maybe it's the most...
one that is...
But I don't think he's the one.
Anyway.
Okay. So the hierarchy thing, if anything goes wrong here, the first person they will call will be Morayo, right? Then Morayo can now say, no, it was BC I gave the job to do, it was Nima I gave the job to do, and all of that. But I don't think it's the place of the governor at that time to start asking, call all the people to come and submit themselves. Now, when I saw the video, it was very funny. It was hilarious to me. And I felt like, where were you when this sort of structure was erected? And I know that's Anambra State. No be so?
Yes.
Yeah. I know how they cluster their buildings in that place. No space.
Because they cluster.
No. You have not been to Anambra. Go to Anambra and go to Onitsha. You'll be amazed at how these structures come up. And I always ask myself, even as a young child growing up, when we go for shopping in Anambra, I always ask myself, is it that there's nobody who would look at this and say, okay, this is not what you're supposed to erect here? It's always and I'm seeing that the governor is trying to sanitize the place. So all hands must be on deck, right? The words that he used, well...
I will sack you, you're incompetent.
He was in the heat of the moment. I want to excuse that. And we have been shouting here, competence.
Did he insult him?
He didn't insult him. He just mentioned that you were given this to do and you did not do it well. As simple as that. I also understand
in Nigerian parlance, it's an insult. In Igbo parlance, you're incompetent, it doesn't mean an insult.
No, it's not an insult.
I know.
You can be incompetent. No, you can be incompetent in this job does not mean you're an incompetent human being.
Yes.
Just in this job that I gave you, Sabi Duam. It's as simple as that, right? We need to start looking at the dictionary properly so that we don't give a Nigerian meaning to some words that we're not supposed to. So if your elder or your senior in terms of hierarchy and all of that says, you did not do this job well, you don't know how to do it, I don't think it's something for you to go and start feeling you were insulted. It's for you to sit up and do the work. And then call all the people who are supposed to do the work right and then hold them accountable.
Can I interject a bit?
Interject.
You know how in Oyinbo language and their dictionary writing, say, Daddy, shut up. You're not saying anything about your dad. Just asking to shut up. It's not a big deal. According to the dictionary, it's just
even them shut up is shut up.
So you say, Daddy, shut up. But in the Nigerian parlance, you can't tell your father to shut up. So it means different things. So say you're incompetent. In the Igbo version, it just means that you don't know how to do this.
Okay, if
in Nigerian parlance, they don't finish it.
If we're supposed to say it in our Nigerian way, because it's important. Yes. This language thing, we've talked about it, that sometimes, we forget that there's the nuances of our culture and our language. But how would I say it? So that this person understands that it's not you. I'm not insulting you as a human being. I'm just pointing out that
before my hand.
No, but it's true. Yes.
You fall my hand. You fall my hand.
do this
You
work
have
right now.
communicated.
You know Sabi.
You know Sabi. You don't fall my hand. You don't say, hey, you have communicated to Nigeria. You are incompetent.
But it's the same thing.
Finish.
No, it's not the
It's just
same.
no.
They know what you have said. I respect you, but the way you did
Yes.
it, I like that.
Okay, so that is our
Says,
culture.
Uncle, the whole of you. I get it.
So that's that.
We didn't speak our local
We said
language.
it when Dr. Uju Kennedy spoke
Yeah,
to women.
yeah.
And I was arguing
And I always
that
agree.
there's a possibility that the English was speaking. She was thinking in Igbo and said it in English. That the way you communicate is different because
You're right.
we are talking to Nigerians. See, read the room.
And I know
Read
that
the
if
room.
he had used you for my hand, the response would have been
Different.
different. There's a way it will enter me. Even me, if I stand beside the governor says incompetent to me, I will really feel bad. But if you say you fall my hand, I will realize this man. You say I trust you, but this particular thing you've done. So I will take it upon myself.
doesn't trust him.
Wait. I'll not take it upon myself. I'm just saying how language, the language that we use, how it reflects. I will take it more upon myself to make sure that I will not fall your hand again.
Yeah.
I will sort it out. But as you have called me incompetent, I'll carry that thing for the rest of my life.
In Yoruba way, they say, so you
That means
still...
you still respect.
Yes.
You've form
Still
my hands.
respect the person.
It means that I put you here, but I'm so disappointed.
It comes with a bit of respect.
Yeah, because in Nigeria-
But you know when you're not disappointed, it's not you form my hand. Though. You are,
When you're really disappointed,
you know,
yeah.
listen, quiet.
Yeah.
You know,
True. He was really disappointed with
because
that
he was
question.
disappointed.
Yeah,
you know, but I still think that the departments in that.
Yeah, your department matter.
No, it's because you see, we've just seen one case. You know, when the governor is moving around with him and TV and camera, his crew, media crew, they're doing their
Boy, was
work.
that
So people
TV?
thought they staged it. They did not. He moves with his camera and media team. That's normal. But there's somebody whose business every day is ensuring that they do not build over a drainage, ensure that they did not put a fence in the middle of the road, ensure that there's a walkway. It is not that of the Minister for Works, whose business is to upward roads and all of that and buildings. And it is that of a department called physical planning in Lagos, for instance. I have had to interface with them, write to them a few times. And their work is totally different. I remember writing that first letter. The property is in Ikola Road. And it was on a Lagos State housing scheme. Yeah. And I wrote to to lands, and it was minuted to the proper department. So I know this thing.
So I hear you, Nima. You are
departments
absolutely
that
correct.
are failing now, and we are looking at the
You
wrong
are absolutely correct. However, the person in charge of that of the public planning will not attend ESCO meetings on Mondays. It's the commissioner that will attend.
report.
So he must be on top of what.
PSs.
Wait. No, not all PSs don't attend the ESCO meetings. ESCO is between the commissioner, the governor, and those commissioners. So only if they need the PS, they can specially request for. But they don't. But it's the commissioners that report to him. So he must be on top of everything.
The point I'm trying to make is that somebody is collecting the money for fence enter road. Then the people that they rent shop for, somebody is doing their own in my estate right now. They have blocked the gutter. They put shop on top of it. Then it's normal. This matter BC mentioned that if you see markets like the trade fair and this article market, you know, popular. No, I'm talking about the one that I'm seeing. I'll be standing out. There's a place I buy books for my kids. I go there every time to look for novels and small story books. And I'll be looking up like this. It seems like it's going to fall. All the cements don't come out. The bars are sticking out like this. They open their shops every day and sell every day. They built it like that on top of each other. And they don't have any... It's not conforming with any...
So and you see the problem is...
One second, let me take your film and come to you. Theophilus, you're live. Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
Good morning.
Morning.
Carol.
I'm fine. This is Gabriel on Delta State.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Okay, this is my father. The issue of, let me start from the issue of Ubara and Senate President.
Yes, it's your view, let it count. Go ahead.
I think it has to do with, if it was Jagaban that was in the shoe of Senate President, he will not respond in that manner. I trust him for that. I get me. Individually, we have our different approaches. Because the issue of maybe giving culture the rest came up, fine. But even the governor himself, knew where he was driving to. And unfortunately, his neighbors fell for it. That is it. It's political. That is it. Then
Thank you, Theophilus.
Yeah. Knows what
ahead.
is
Different
so I was
approaches.
saying that also, as we can see here in Lagos State, some houses are going to be demolished or some structures are going to be demolished because we do not pay, we don't do the right thing. So what the governor is doing now is going to save a lot of problems. You know, especially when a new governor comes or a governor is trying to pull down structures that is impeding on drainages and water flow, we now start saying, oh, is this the right time? Nigerians are suffering. This is not fair. This man does not have any empathy. And he's insisting on the right thing to be done now. So that's why it's always important from the very beginning, you know, to do what is right so that the cost of it will not be as high. As bad as it is now, it will not be as high as when that thing is completely finished and people are, you know, using the structure. But I still want us to go back to language, Mariah. I love this fact that, you know, we have to understand our culture and how we speak. I've heard that with Asians, especially I think maybe Japanese or Koreans, that there's a way that you speak, especially when you're speaking to people who are a bit higher than you, you defer to them. And we have that as Africans. You know, you defer to them. If you don't speak in deference to them, it comes across as rude. Even if the words you're saying is not rude, but you are not putting into consideration the culture of when we talk to leaders, we defer. I've seen it happen in a lot of places where, you know, with our lecturers, with things like that, everybody keeps comparing, oh, in America, oh, they call their lecturers by their first names. They, you know, there's a way they do it in America that is different, but that's their culture. And it's okay for their culture. In fact, the other places like Europe, they also have their culture. So we need to understand, you know, it's all in the conversation of what is it we want as Nigerians? What's our standard? What is it in our language, in the way we speak to each other? What do we want to become the one thing that we do everywhere? So when we're speaking to someone, the words have to be, you know, I don't push for pidgin English, but the words have to be in such a way that it captures our culture, it captures our respect for each other.
Also, the intention of what you're trying to communicate. Let me take this call from Hassan.
Pay you for.
Good morning, Hassan, you're live. Oh, yeah.
So,
go ahead, Obiajulu.
we speak English
Want to go on
as
language?
our official language here,
Yeah.
right? And in the public service, we use English. Constitution has English and all of that. So I think we'd just have to understand how to use the English language better in the right context in which it's used. For me, if you do something that really negates what I expect you to do as the person who is in charge to monitor this and monitor that, make sure that taxpayers' money is not wasted, you know. There's a responsibility that comes with such public offices. I will not be using you for my hand for something that was obviously not well thought out. Something that you know, you sat down, you allowed it to be erected, you did not do your job of supervision. I will not be using you for my hand. You for my hand is, you made a small mistake that I just want to overlook, and I just want to just give you that friendly warning. At this point, we're not friends. You have one assignment to do, and you have to do it well. And if you do not do it well, I will use the words to communicate how pained I am that we have to get to a point where we're bringing down this building. That's wasting cement, wasting block, wasting resources that we could have channeled to something else. We're bringing it down just because you did not do your work. So I will not use you for my hand. This is not a culture thing.
No, and culturally too, there must be a way that you would say.
But I'm not speaking culture right now. This is public office. I'm speaking work and excellence, right? I will not be, see, I
Even in our culture,
I don't want us to,
Let me tell you, I want you to think about it.
Yeah.
I will take a caller. Good morning, Shegun, you're live. Shegun, are you there? You're live.
Yeah, good morning.
Go ahead,
Mario.
please. Yes.
Let me start with the Fubara issue.
Yes, go ahead. It's your view. Go ahead.
Just catching up.
The family, they turn the burial to a carnival. So the fault is for the family.
Sorry.
The man is a young, the wife is young, and they are son. They have the regent father. They should be buried quietly. But they decided to make a carnival. That's why all kind of people came there.
He's a statesman. People know him. He's well known. He has impacted lives.
Yeah.
He's touched many lives, and people have worked with him. So I think it was an appropriate. Some would say.
Yes,
he's an appropriate
it's
burial.
appropriate, but they do not turn it to carnival. It's a carnival. That is why the burial turned to show between the other person.
Okay, that's your view. Let me let you. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Shagun.
He says, I get your point, talking to when I refer to private burials as well. He said, but this is kind of hard to bury a bank MD privately. Of course, the family could have insisted, but a public event would always go and hold somewhere in one form or another. And we've seen that before. That was he supporting, you know.
So let me go back to what PC was trying to say. Let's come back to things like
also quickly. They said this man is not a commissioner for us. Is the according to this person, he says is the chairman local government. Is the local government boss for what's it called? Called the local government.
So does he deserve it now?
Yes.
That you know?
It was safe.
The information we got was from the commissioner, but I guess we can always get that. The producer can always confirm from us.
Yes, please.
All right. So what I was saying concerning we're moving this conversation to the issue of language. As Africans, we respect is part of our core.
Yeah.
Regardless of what tribe you're from, north, south, east, and west. Even though some people they demonstrate respect in different ways. There's a respect we have for each other.
Yeah.
And that respect is carried in everything we say, how we say it,
words.
we say it in our words. Abroad, really, and not that they don't respect each other, but their language doesn't have that essence in it. So when you use words, if you goof, we tell you goof and you go, it's black and white. It is here in Nigeria where Mr. John slapped Mrs. John. We now discuss, okay, we now start discussing. In abroad, you slap Mrs. John, the sanction is 10 years in jail, pretty much. Here, okay, because of the Nikon, we now start considering federal factors, we discuss it and see how we can bring it down to. Because we have different factors. That's because we are Africans, because we respect his role as a father, we respect her role as a mother, we respect society, where they are from, the pedigree. We consider all those things. And because of that, let's reduce it to years.
And we cannot call it spade a spade.
Yes.
Is that not what is dragging us back?
Not necessarily.
We're all speaking the same thing.
Yeah.
We don't call a spade in our culture for different reasons. It's good and it's bad.
Exactly.
Because there's certain ways you see, there are ways you look at things and you're like, okay, if I do it this way, it's not the good way, but the consequences might be enormous.
Oh, wow.
So in this situation, I can say you fall my hand, not because I want to disrespect you. I respect you as the chairman or as the person you are. But this word I gave you, you don't
Do you know, even something as simple as the words, you know, in French, they have some words where for adults, you refer to them in the plural.
Yes.
You know, you say vous, but if you're talking to a young person, you can say tu in the singular. So it shows, you know, in accepting, with this colonialism and accepting the way we're using English, sometimes we put our own culture beneath it. And I want it to be that we are recognizing that our culture also is as important as the English language that we're using. I like what you said that, you know, for me, when I'm having a communication with someone, if I want to do something, if I'm displeased about something, the communication I'm having with you is not just so that I can, you know, I can insult you. The essence of that communication is so that what I want done is done. So I'm not bringing you, I'm not having this conversation so that I can tell you how much I told her off, how much I disrespected her. That's not the essence of my conversation. I want that at the end of this conversation, you feel the need to do what is right. And so I will use the words that will communicate that the job here is what is most important and not that I am bigger than you or I can use this word that can demean you. So when we are discussing in English, I think we should also remember that we're people who respect each other. And respect each other does not mean we don't tell each other the truth. When we say we don't call a spade, but when we do, but we eventually get there. You know, we have conversations where you call an elder and explain to an elder that there's a certain way you have done something and the person gets it. And sometimes we have missed the core of a message because of the way we have said it. Many times with government officials and government policies, they have these laudable policies, but because of the way they have used the language, they did not put into consideration all the, you know, the differences, the nuances of culture and ethnicity and religion. You lose. So that's, for me, I think that's
okay. Yes, from the real crux of the matter.
Let me take God's will from Delta. I'll come to you. Good morning, God's will. You're live.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm not from Delta. I'm from Bauchi.
Oh, sorry about that, God's will from Bauchi. You're live.
They gave you Incompetency.
Yeah, thank you. I want to air my view concerning the Fobara.
It's your view, let it count. Go ahead, please.
All right. My point of view is he
Fubara, Fubara, is also a politician. He made a very good statement, but also when a senior or elder brother that is also a senior power ahead of him came ahead and said, Fubara, what you said is you are also a politician like us, because his message was directly to politicians. So he said, okay, if the struggle is vanity, why not relinquish your seat? We also look at it from that point of view first. So I feel like, to some extent, you people are forcing people to see God's will about you like a bad person. No, he might have a different way of passing message, but his message was more powerful than what Fubara said. Fubara said, okay, what are we struggling for?
Godswill, can I stay with you for a minute? Please do. Godswill, can I stay with you for a minute? So you made an important point, because Fubara is a politician. Absolutely correct. So it's possible that he also had the intention to strike a bit, to strike a bit. However, the conversation on this table focused more on the fact that it was the wrong place or time for even the Senate president, even if Fubara was foolish enough to actually go ahead and use that striking sentence to prick him. Should the Senate president have responded in that kind of place?
What Fabio did was the right thing.
Oh, wow.
Let me address a foolish man. If he's foolish for me.
Okay.
Can I ask Godswill something?
Go ahead.
You know, we said something about vanity upon vanity. That's what we thought. That's what we believed the governor was the message was trying to pass across.
Yes.
And you have just said,
yes,
you know, that the Senate president was right in saying, if you don't want to struggle, then leave. Can I ask you a question? Since we all end up dying
yes,
in the end, should we just all commit suicide at birth? We have to all die.
At some point.
Yes.
So what's the need of living if we're all going to die? Let's just commit suicide at birth. That's how I saw his response to what Fubara said.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, there's no problem, but my point of view is...
That's too highly, see? You didn't communicate. Thank you very much. That your English. You didn't communicate to good.
I think he got it.
No, she did.
He got it.
He now got it.
He now got it.
That's when he now got it.
He got it.
Because when he was talking, my own answer was even worse.
Yeah.
I was saying he's talking to politicians, so the head of the whole politician in Nigeria has to respond.
So
to
back to our topic.
Okay, back to the
Yes, so I know, I like how you explained different cultures and how we use respect and all of that. And that also takes me back to the culture of where this happened. The way the Igbos show respect is different from the way the Yorubas show respect. It's different from the way the Hausas show respect, right? For an Igbo person, they would vocally tell you, this is it. So he has not done anything wrong. I am telling you, and I think if you even check them, the governor is definitely older than that other person and higher in hierarchy. So he's not going to be bowing down and respecting to tell him that he has messed up. He will tell him the way it is. When it's his turn to tell the governor, he will now have to go with the, okay, I have to say it in a certain way because this person is higher or older than I am in terms of hierarchy and position.
Not all those. Not looking at us. They are simply talking to each other's offices.
Yes,
yes. If the local government, they say it's Ogbaru local government chairman. If he was to talk to the governor, he would simply be talking to him because he's the governor. Yeah. If push comes to shove, governor come up for governor place and they are meeting, he won't allow him talking. An average Igbo man will not allow anybody talking.
Exactly. So that's their culture as well.
The point I'm trying to make is that even though we express culture in different ways, it's still at the core.
And this is
still at the essence. So the Igbo man might not
of the core.
I was saying that I still respect you and Igbo to Igbo.
No, these are Igbo to
I was making a point. There is a lot confused.
What we call respect here is not what we call respect.
But there's respect. That's my
point.
point.
There is respect.
It's different, but there's respect.
Yes, but if there's a truth to be told, no, listen, you can respect a person, right? But there's truth to be told, you will say it the way it is. That's how they do it.
So for someone who is from a blunt tribe, I cannot pretend not to have heard this kind of bluntness. For someone once told me, why are you chewing like a goat? It's bluntness. Yes, you're chewing and they don't have flowers to describe, to water their words. There are no flowery words in our tribes. And so what you interpret sometimes, they go like that, bam, bam, to the very core of your being in their statements. I'm used to things like this and in description. I sometimes do it now.
And so you get
it's
it.
in the genetics.
And so you get it. You don't see it as as an insult.
No,
because it's something you understand.
You don't search. You don't go in search of good
insult.
words to communicate, express how you feel.
Anger, yeah.
So we had to learn it.
I love it.
We had to learn it
Thank
growing
you.
up. It's a lot confusing. So sometimes when I need to be direct, I'll be like, I don't have time to flower this thing. I go direct. My kids will be like, Mommy, that's very painful. I did not see anything wrong. Because they didn't see anything wrong when they
parents are allowed to be direct.
So you go direct. And the governor was, in his expression at that moment and time, I'm going to come and flower the words. You're incompetent.
time,
If
yeah.
you
But he
were
didn't
competent,
insult him,
this
It's
will
not an
bother
insult.
you. And some things that you see, they are just basic common sense. Some construction that you see should bother anybody.
I'm telling
But
you.
you see some Nigerians
No walkway.
thriving and minding, they call it mind business.
But
Minding their businesses.
you know, both of you made a very good point about how, you know, you just say it. Because I can imagine if this happened anywhere else, especially in the north, that man will not be responding. His head will be bowed down until he's done, and then he'll go and do the work. Do you understand? So he will not even be in normal conversation.
Yeah.
Yes, already that will even be seen as rudeness. I'm telling you, listen while I speak.
Yeah.
And
That's
then when I'm done, you go and
It's
sort
different.
yourself.
Even how we grew up,
there are many things.
even how we grew up. So it was when I was working with, a school, and my principal was a man, a Yoruba man, who, when he comes into the meeting room and we're having meetings, I'm the only woman who will be looking at him while he's talking. And then he went around saying that I was rude because every other teacher there will bow their head when he's talking. But that's not how I grew up. I grew up looking at my father when he's talking. He will ask me. In fact, when you look down, you are called an evil person because you cannot match the eye with the truth. Yes, that's my culture. So when my father is shouting at me, or maybe I've done something wrong and I'm looking down, that means I am guilty, I have done it, I'm not a good person. But when I look to his eyes and I'm able to respond, he's asking questions, I'm answering him back. No, Daddy, that's not what I did. I'm seen as, okay, you are an honest person. So I grew up that way. I had to go and unlearn again when I walked in a Yoruba atmosphere where I was
this is not regional.
because I'm not looking at my Oga's face.
The point I'm trying to make, and I think you're still missing the point. I'm saying that the language of you are incompetent means different things to different people.
Yes, we get that.
And that doesn't negate what you're saying.
It shouldn't.
Because culture, yes, is there. Respect is how you see it. When you say you are incompetent, somebody else who has a bit of maybe a certain level of exposure will say, okay, I messed up in this space. But somebody else who is hearing that you have insulted them to their being.
We explain to them.
So even though your
no time
language, you still communicate the same incompetence, but it will mean something different
English
in a
is not
different way.
adequate.
So yes, English doesn't provide that understanding
You mess up,
to let you know what you did. So it might not be before your hand, but it could be different language.
Yes,
something
it
will
might not be
communicate
for
to you.
You are correct. But you see, it's even worse when they interpret it
In the language.
I'm telling you. I used to have a dictionary in Esako language of words and proverbs just to interpret the times, because they say that half word that they give Pikin get sense. They give you bam, bam all the time. I had to quickly go and be checking. That was how I mastered my language. Interpreting my parents and their proverbs all the time. You know, the words, when I sit here, if I use those words in English, my kids will run out of the house.
I don't know about the Sako words, but the one Yoruba word I know is Okute Kato. Wait.
Okute is for my hand. You are incompetent is Olodonye. It's Olodo. You will pay your bones.
Olodonye. Don't know anything.
You know, that will bury you. Ground will open, you will enter. You are incompetent. It means that you don't know it well. You can apologize.
Let's just stick to English at this point.
No, I don't think what local language. Speak your local language.
Let me take this call. Let me take this call from, I don't even know. Moses, you're live. Go ahead, please.
Hey.
No, Dunia.
Good morning.
Good morning. Go ahead.
Hey.
Just Moses from Kaduna.
Yes, go ahead, please.
I want to go back to the word of Senate President Governor Kubara. Please, if you see the comment of the Senate President back to Kubara, even though a madman will climb that stage now, even though a madman will climb that stage, and we see a tree cough lying on his front, I think it's sensible to go back to him. Because I don't see anything that the governor went there to speak anything against the Senate President or one of the governors. He speak about the truth. Because he still put himself also inside.
Yeah.
He said because the end of the world, everything will demolish everything. Everybody will still go back to that place.
Yeah.
So what's the reason why the Senate president will start out giving comment of politicians, giving comment of when it was this, it was that? Look, the whole world are watching at us as a Nigerian. And you know, now as we're speaking now, the world eyes on us for we to develop this country, Nigeria, because they call us the giants of Africa. So please, the election I have to say to the Senate president, we have the worst Senate president in this world now.
I think you made the point. Let's cut it off there. Thank you very much.
Okpoko sense the meaning of incompetency in Yoruba. It's Allah in this share.
That one is
that subtle?
Yeah, it's still subtle.
But the anger of what you have done is not for me to be looking for subtle words.
Your language.
Your language. Don't you have word for incompetence?
And what's that?
You don't know nothing. That's what I can remember right now. You know nothing. This job is not for you. You know
when you tell that to somebody, I'd rather take that.
If we're incompetent, our local language from beginning to the end. That's when I can now be telling you in local language. I've been speaking English with you from beginning to the end. Why do I want to use local language to tell you that you have messed up? So make it easy for you. No, you will not get it because tomorrow you mess up again. No, I need to tell you the extent of your mess up so that next time.
Let me give you an example. Let me give you an example. You see, we have Oyinbo CEO. And I mean, I remember many years ago, when he came in and he would talk in the beginning, he wasn't communicating. When his accent initially, when he started off, and he was difficult. Not because he wasn't getting, we understand, but it was hard for him to communicate to certain people. So he has to understand that, okay, there's a language you have to step down to a point where you're trying to drive a new station to a new place. And you are saying certain things and you're talking over our heads and we're not getting it. So sometimes you have to bring it down to Nigerians to understand where we are to move us to the next level. It's the same situation. You are saying incompetent. Yes, I get the incompetence, we understand it, but if you are talking to the chairman of the local government and you want him to understand how incompetent he is, don't use the word incompetent. That word will not communicate incompetence to him.
Nice, because in Anambra,
it will communicate insult. It will communicate insult. But it will not communicate that I want you to do better. I want you to fix this. You have folded my hand.
It would have been nice if he had just, spoken Igbo. Because they're in Anambra, I don't know
from
why
beginning to the end, right?
Do this thing. I always appreciate it once in a while when Sanwo-Olu is addressing Lagosians. Paschal used to do it. He will be at some gatherings and throughout he will speak Yoruba.
So people that can't speak their language cannot run for office.
But the governors for Anambra people, they should not be shying away from their...
I have Ade from London.
I wanted to
come to you in a second. Ade, the live. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, good morning, please.
Good morning.
I have a different opinion.
Please go ahead.
All these politicians, they are all the same. When Kubara come and be governor, Kubara was the civil servant. He must have done things good for Wiki, like a cover-up, because he's in charge of it. And now Kubara is there. Wiki is fighting Kubara. Then the president is talking. All of them are the same. When the society of vanity, to still leave that place and go and collect money somewhere that doesn't belong to them, that belongs to the... They don't have conscience. And when they want to put ceramic, when the Bible says, just you are, just shall do so. So who allowed us to come inside the ceramic? They will put the app and bury them there. So I don't have pity for them.
So there used to be a line my father uses to address when you're doing something, or maybe you're a and you would think it sounded nice because we did. And when they ask him to say, stop being foolish, then I will not ask him. When he says Udufuki, you say, don't be a fool the size of your age. The English was not interpreting it.
Hey,
yes. The size of your age.
Sometimes when you are big and you're acting, don't be a fool the size of your body. Reduce the foolishness.
That in your language.
Yes. Udufuki,
it doesn't hit you because you don't get the language.
So the language was the only thing. Whenever I said it in English, it sounded okay. Yeah. But after that, nobody of a can use that language.
This is funny because I remember my grandfather when he will get upset, when he has finished saying all the words, then he say bloody fool. Once he says bloody, we will fall down laughing. It was so funny. He's like, bloody fool. Like everything else was not in English. So I would send the message across.
So I would advise, right, that, you know, because we are all adults, you would find a way to communicate to adults like you in a respectful manner. Irrespective of the situation. So because when I saw that video, I laughed, but I was asking myself, would I have done that? I wouldn't have done that. Especially not outside, right? But you will see the anger that, you did not do this well. But I may not have used certain words outside, you know, because... I won't use that outside.
Please,
for an adult.
I want us to be...
For an adult, I will not use that outside.
What he said was incompetent, right? And what other word?
Just that, I'll sack you. Yes. No, I will not do that outside because I understand how people's emotions can be. It may demoralize him beyond, you know, what he has done, and it will now spiral into other things, right? So because I'm that particular about how I want you to feel at the end of the day, outside I will not use such words, right? But you will see the anger. I will vent at the building, I will vent at everything around, but I will not, you know, direct it particularly. I had to learn that.
You know that it doesn't correct
just to save, just to save your face in public, and because you are my team member, I also want you to feel well even while we're working together. Jesus Christ carry cane, go flog people for temple. Even Jesus Christ that taught us how to be
so calm and demonstrate the frustration.
Yes.
Good morning, thanks for calling. I think I have a call. Good morning.
Just to save him.
Go ahead.
Sorry. So, for my help, and even this new one, I see that I have to be, you know, show them courtesy back. I see that when I'm using that courtesy and expressing anger or displeasure, they don't get it. I'll be like, this thing that you did, I really don't like it. This is not how it should be done. You know, let me show you this is how it should be done.
But you're older than
I come back the next day. The first one I was older than, this one is older than me. I come back the next day,
same thing.
They do the same mistake again. So when I'm talking, Mommy, are you upset? Like,
you're not feeling the anger.
I have not still communicated. I have not communicated to these people how displeased I am about how they handle these things.
Because
so I really don't blame them. Because I'm trying to put emotional intelligence. If I come back and say, I want to see, don't get, everybody will get it. But because I'm trying to sugar the word, flower the word, respect it. Even the Yoruba, you don't Yoruba. I need to say it exactly how I need to communicate. I want them to get it.
Yeah, we can also take away rewards.
I came home, I'd shown her this pot. I said, it's a non-stick pot. Please don't use iron spoon. This and that. I showed her. And the pots have colors. And me, I like all this decoration thing. I don't know, semi. And she came, the silver pots that need iron. She left it. She carried that non-stick one, put iron sponge.
Ew,
in my sleep, in my subconscious, I heard, Q.
Your non-stick
I screamed from where I was, and that got it. Because I'd corrected that 3 times. She didn't get it. But when I screamed,
maybe screaming is also part of our language.
Screaming. That's what I'm saying. Demonstration. Demonstrate your anger. Don't say it. You have to prove.
You can also take away rewards.
You know, sometimes when you're angry and go,
they will find the reward.
I am so angry with you. They'll be looking at you.
But when you break something, jag something and scream
don't
something.
Break something, no.
That's all we can take on today's show. We learned a few things as we have. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.